In this age of information and re-education of almost anything, if we look at the outer world, it's all about rewriting our own script. So in the video we will break down what it takes to do that. So one thing that is so an overall conglomerate is like we need to rewire our brains, our mentality, our psychology, our entire lifestyle to get somewhere in a happy space that brings fulfillment, that brings passion, that brings knowledge, intelligence. We all want to know. And so there is so much we could address here, because everything that is rewinding requires actually upgrades in consciousness, never ending upgrades, never ending educational growth, never ending polishing skills. And so your life gets very, very passionate, gets important, gets value. And so the missing link most of the time for everybody is, over here, is always re-evaluating your values, because the core of your values defines your interdimensional growth, your growth with the universe, your growth on the planet, your growth with everything, actually depending on how high you put your ladder in the ascension process, in, let's say, your value on what matters in order to get to your ultimate goal. So looking at the word or your core values and realizing that they actually define everything in your life. It defines your inner directions, it defines your choices, it defines your alignments, it defines your connections or your rejections. It defines, you know, so much related issues regarding your health, regarding your belief system, regarding the way you actually generate life in general. And it's actually about flowing with everything, you know, flowing um, out of anything that was actually cutting your vibration. So it is the movement that people went into during the past 10 years, actually, from flow into depletion, from expression into depression, from a joyful mentality, always ready to bring input, to be inspirited, to have aspirations, into getting grumpy, judgmental, you know, all that stuff. And so the movement into highest level inspiration, aspiration, and hitting your particular platform of knowledge, your individual book of knowledge, is contained from the inner world, moving from the heart and the connection with your brain into the world where you come from, which are the light worlds, at all stages. And that is very, very important, because if we're not inspirited and we don't have inspirations, we get disinterested, we get numb, the brain loses its functions. Like the brain has many, many faculties we can tap into, like all the faculties we have in universities. You know, there is the psychological faculty, there is the faculty into inner management, there is a faculty into the creation of business, there is a faculty, yeah, there's so many. So just look at that, and there is always just one particular faculty that may be the most important faculty for you, for your inner drive to come alive, for your inner drive to come alive. As many, many things in psychology have been killed, it is very, very important to make new decisions, to re-evaluate our belief system, and thus we can move upon a ladder that defines better values, from growing skills through education, and not moving always in a brain that is looking for people to fill you up. That age is over and done with. No more stealing energy from anyone else, thinking they have the right answers for your questions. It all comes from the inner worlds that we can uncover, rediscover, redefine, and see from the inside out crystal clear. So I've been talking a lot about opening the inner worlds through the eye of the divine, opening up the interdimensional sounds and hearing what the entire universe, your direct connect to your spark, your spirit, your source, has entailed for you. And that is truly mapping out or opening your book of knowledge that contains many maps of interest that will guide you through to a brand new life, because that is what the earth is doing. The earth is moving into its light configurations back into the origin, and so we need to move along with it. Otherwise we get stuck in mentality, in everything, psychology, connections, jobs, economics, politics, whatever. So what you value actually depends on what you actually swallowed from the other worlds, what you swallowed from your family members, what you swallowed from your own mental input, your own thought formulas, actually, the way you process thoughts, and put your inner core that deciphers wrong from right at the upper ladder, actually. So and that is part of gaining mastery over your energy, mastery over your life, and becoming so strong within, which is going to be needed, because the dense forces are never going to stop to bring their output in order to kill your brains, your lives, and thinking they can take over your bank, your home, and everything in that particular platform, because it happens a lot with people. So if during your growth within the human circle was not very much encouraging by high level potential through, let's say, like you swallowed anything that has been dictated in your life through teachers, through educational systems, through your parents, whatever. We need to let go, not judge anyone, because you never know what those people have been going through in order to arrive at a platform to tell you what to do. So taking charge of your life is the most important thing to bring value to. Something that matters is important to hang on to for your inner wealth and your inner health. There ain't no inner wealth without your inner health, because it entails actually everything. So if health and education was never developed as an important value, it may decrease other values, such as feeling worthy, such as being appreciated when doing a job, such as valuing yourself for what you know, for what you educated yourself through, for what you allowed in your life, and all those things. So if your home space is not of value to you, it may influence your mental capacity to stand strong in mentality, to decipher right from wrong, to decipher what kind of directions you could possibly take in order to polish yourself, to become a master of your life and to become so strong physically, mentally, and in psychology, meaning we need to re-educate and open up the brain waves matching a new lifestyle on the earth. And that is where the magic comes through. That is where you move from one platform, like let's say if you've been living in the suburbs, figuratively, and you want to move into a palace in which everything is possible, then we need to do the work, we need to do the output, we need to know how we can eliminate, the former brain waves, override them, and readjust the entire organism that absorbs every thought form, every value, every belief at all times, 24/7. So that's a lot to generate for the brain. Actually, the brain that needs its access back to the heart composition, because it's actually not the brain but the heart that speaks louder, and that comes when finding your passion. So if you just connect, let's say in the outer world, just with anybody, because you love to speak, you love to communicate, and you allow that, and not being careful about choosing people with whom you connect, then or just value certain attributes, then you may become like a sponge that allows, and so your brain always generates these conversations no matter what. So value matters a lot in order to uplift consciousness. So it's very important also in the coming age, what you value within people, because we're social beings. We need to connect with each other. We speak, we communicate, and all these communication could lead to an exchange of fluidity in intelligence, in wisdom, and knowledge. Leading from one platform of knowledge into the next upgrades of knowledge, and opening those, like people can inform each other, exchange experiences, exchange knowledge, and so we could start to value certain people for their intelligence, for their knowledge, for their research, for the way they are creative, because we're all artists. That could go from many, many ways, And if, let's say, if you just eat anything without taking in consideration what it does to your inner organism, then your value is very poor, because you actually don't value your inner organism. And that is just, we eat mentality, we eat psychology, we eat conversations, because what we hear is what gets into our into the neurology of the brain. It synapses continuously, information upon information, and what not deciphering what we allow, what we don't allow. Life may get very, very complicated, because let's say we may digest like 70%. That is not, in accordance with our values. And so setting your life on the higher grounds of values will already manifest better things in life. We're all manifestors. So at times it's very important to truly make a checklist, and adapting. So adapting that checklist can actually bring massive life-changing events upon you. If you cut down anything that is like connections to very boring, very mundane people that have no interest in anything but judging others, and talking on a very platonic plane, then you may get bored very easily. So that is the first thing you could do, sending out, like, I want to meet intelligent people. I want to meet people that are also interested in X, Y, Z, whatever your passion, your interest is, and just, look around and what happens. And these people could assist you because they can direct you in making better connections and, you know, uplifting your standards with your value actually. And so another checklist is important regarding your health, um, because your health value, what you value in health, impacts everything else, because what you eat is what fuels your brain capacity to remember, to educate yourself, and to make the right decisions. So we need to be careful really with certain foods, because if we take care of carefully upgrading the frequency of uh, consumerism regarding the food industry, and we have a high level value, or we give a high level value to food, then quite naturally we start juicing, drinking a lot of water, being aware of what your organism truly needs, rejecting every single processed food, every synthetic food, any medication, because it's all synthetic. So, and moving from the killing fields within the animal kingdom into respecting more the herbal kingdoms, the fruit kingdoms, and vegetables, and so on. So these are all healthy choices. It depends. If we don't value our organism, we can just eat everything that comes on our platter, and many, many people still do. So that can become a disaster in mentality, because the food industry in the body, how it affects your organism, affects your brain, affects your capacity, affects your passion, your skills, your growth. So um, it's all about, avoiding actually to get depleted in energy, and thus never get depleted in consciousness either, because it's, when thinking about it, do you value the company of people that are rich in mentality, so you can learn from them and you can exchange valuable information about yourself, because that is going to be very important in the incoming age. So do you value never ending educational upgrades and growth that bring a high level um, passion, skills, creativity, insight, that feeds your mental capacity actually, because that is very important. When your mentality, your brain capacity has no food for thought, then it gets depleted, it gets depressive, you get non-inspirited, non-creative, and that is what kills most of the people. Even if you have bad foods at times, all that stuff, but you have a high level mentality, it happens at time, then your body generates those higher levels of passion, mentality, creativity, be it in jobs, in business, in the home. Creativity is an ongoing thing. It is creating from one level into the next, and polishing and willing, being willing to learn is very, very important, because the old educational systems were really growing into the mud industry, and there was nothing really to learn about. So we should really watch out for the new children that are coming in, very, very fluid in intelligence, wisdom, knowledge as well, because they will not be born in soul consciousness anymore and go straight into the spiritual connections with all the universe is just spark spirit. And all the other light families, the giants, the angelic kingdoms, many species living on other planets, to which we have access right now when living in light, because living in soul consciousness and living in the degrees actually of the matrix will not going to lift, is not going to lift or be of value to anyone, because we will see that, you know, that system will suck your energy out of you completely. So the solutions I've been talking about all of the time, moving beyond the matrix into the crystalline grid, and allowing these configurations to come true, in which you become this super creative developing skill upon skill upon skill that is never ending. I've been teaching it here for 20 years now. We're moving right into the alchemy, from a foundation back in your eternal immortal body into the alchemy, and up and up and up, because this is truly opening the gates. This year is where your life becomes passionate. So for those that are new right here, if you're interested to know about it, thank you for subscribing and supporting my channel as well. If you think it is of value, just circulate the video around. So there's a lot of free stuff on my website as well, plenty of links down there, because we are moving into the immortal age, in which we are required to let's say, bring the transaction from the cellular construction into the rejuvenation of light waves, and becoming a light wave back again. And many of us amongst us always remember it as the light planes, the lighthouses. The house of Shambhala is definitely grounding this year, and you feel that passion, you feel that creativity is a matter of connection. And so the universe has closed off everything of the old already. It's really a time to get a bit more humble to what is being put out there. We are all required to move into our foundational light body, light grids, upgrading up from there. And that is where the knowledge is never ending. The intelligence is never ending in upgrades. Your life becomes passionate, and it all moves with the new tree of life. As the old is gone and done, the new body of life, and life-giving properties, getting your living light origin back in the body, and restoring the planet with its origin, which is massive. So here, for those willing to do it, it's open. It's minus, I think, minus 70% something. So if you want to remove yourself from the matrix once and for all, because from now on the axis is turning, and there is no forward movement in soul consciousness. If you don't want to delete, eliminate anything soul, then it may suck you really into the matrix. I'm done talking about it. It's my videos are for those who want to lift themselves up, who want to move forward, develop themselves, and be on the planet for the next incoming 100 years at least, because there is going to be a huge evacuation process anyways for those that are wanting to move forward. Food industry is changing. There's gonna be some sort of food scarcity. You don't have to be afraid of anything. If you're living in light in the foundational compartments, then you feed your body. So I eat a little bit once a day, and have quite enough, because I continuously feed myself with light. Many people are already 100% living on light, and just having some water, coffee at times, you know, small stuff, because it is sustainable, and it will be the only thing that will be sustainable in the incoming days, months, and years. So let's re-evaluate your values. So do you value never-ending educational growth or not? Do you value your creativity? Do you value daily time alone. I mean, if you have a family and things, I value my time alone for, let's say, huge. I think it's 30 years now. And uh, I will never, agree upon a relationship. I simply don't have time for it. And I do know when it is time to meet my eternal perfect mate right on this platform that will download from the universes anyway, then I'm ready, right? And that's the only thing. So I will continuously align to that particular persona as part of myself. And reason why also we are doing actually on the planet is repairing the male-female relationship. Everything went out of balance, and that is where it started off, with the males going offline. So that is what we are doing, repairing the food industry, repairing consciousness, repairing education. That is, moving into Unitarian platforms requires the upgrades in light consciousness on an everyday level. And so in order to move into some sort of balance equilibrium, it requires these upgrades of your values, and the upgrade in the first place of valuing your own new educations, because that is massive. That is about creating new friendships, meeting up like in teams, creating something for the planet. So not going down in the old ways of doing business and putting everybody on the same equilateral system that is valuing their faculty in their brain, and actually merging every faculty within your team members, your friendships, your families, whatever is there, and that is what is coming in. So let me know, where is your value of? Where do you think, like, I could definitely polish this, or start thinking about what value means to you? What does it mean to you truly? It's very important, because if you start to value the things in the outer world, you start to value everything in your inner world, and you start attracting everything that is of higher value and of higher worth. So depending on your self-worth, if you're still living in the degrees of high levels, unworthiness, shame, fear, all that, low vibration, and not doing the work of eliminating all that stuff, upgrading into light, and cutting down those low values parameters, and so we can distance ourselves completely from the matrix, moving 100% into the crystalline grids that bring light, consciousness, inspiration, aspiration, passion, and we are all being asked to bring that output as the highest level of renewal needed on the planet is re-education in kindergartens, re-education on the job, re-education of every age, re-education of our teens, re-education of the elderly, re-education of mentality, psychology, physical fitness, and how everything can perfectly move together. Because whatever I've seen there, everything is moving too slow. It's really due to living in the matrix and not willing or having resistances to move into the crystalline grid, into a light body, and doing the work that it takes. Because everything that is my passion, my inspiration, aspiration, my growth, and then my entire lifestyle comes from my 20 years of input in self-growth in meditation, and that is alignment upon alignment and new alignments and new crystal grids. I could work with hundreds of grids with the animal kingdoms. I work and communicate telepathic communication, the all-seeing eye, the all-seeing ear. They all need to move together, so that takes work. But then it brings so much value back to you. So what you value brings higher values to you. So today we can all make that perfect decision to decide to grow in light consciousness or remain in the mud of the matrix and consciousness that has nowhere to go or has no aspiration. So for those willing to hear a little story, so I'm just back from France. I was going to a mineral gem fair for 3 or 4 days, because it was, it was spread over miles and miles throughout the mountains. It's a huge event in which you get to meet worldwide people, and it's very interesting. I finally got my emerald, and the other one, that is my green emerald light city. My crystal of knowledge opening up, my books of knowledge opening up, the emerald tablets, and so much more people hear about but do not know about. It's all from your inner world that these things open up through wearing those crystals, opening up the communication ley lines with those crystals, and they start to tell you tales and invite you to write your own scripts why that crystal came to me. So the green emerald city is massively important, and many huge things. But the best of the best I want to mention here is truly, like in France, you just have to find out everything yourself. Like if you want to take a train from one place to the other, they don't mention, all the stations you need to hit, or if there's one station in between you need to be. There's nobody helping you out, telling you which train to take to get in that middle station, because it's not mentioned. So the world is a bit retarded over there, and by great people, and they didn't know the word vegan, everything, it's non-existent over there. So I had my flat booked over there, so for a few days, and I said, oh, what am I going to do here? Like, okay, let's see what I can get. And so the first thing I met is downstairs my hotel apartment, I found a vegan restaurant ready to serve me at my requirements. They had juices, they had, lots of great stuff. And around the corner there was one small vegan shop even, in which you could buy small things. But buying, on the fair itself, like a large bottle of water, non-existent. So small bottles like the stuff is crazy. So I must say, spirit always takes care of you, no matter what, if you are in alignment. And that was so great. And another great thing that happened is I got to meet people I met like 18 years ago that did a foundational stuff in light body and everything, but never really worked with it. And we talked like 4 hours straight. They were completely inspired with everything. Like they were just about like going home, but meeting me completely opened their brainwaves. They were so happy there. They said, you gave us all the aspiration back. And, just in a few hours time with everything, I was communicating about the crystal kingdoms, because everything is a crystal kingdom. Your iPhone is a crystal kingdom. The universe is a crystal kingdom. All the planets are crystal kingdoms. So your computers are made out of crystals. So crystallizing the body is the stage we are moving in, as everything is already moving with it. And that is happening here with the age, moving into alchemizing the body, crystallizing the body, moving in with the languages of light. And that is, of course, reinstalling, especially opening the lotus flower with the English language, opening the origin of creation with toning the I am presence, which is the new light embodiment with its 144 bodies, with the origin of the language that moved from the Aramaic into the Hebrew alphabet and turning that starts to crystallize. So that is how it moves. That is in my course Alchemy 1, open for everybody who really wants to move into the value with their source, the value with the universe, the value with their inner core belief system, and changing the lower beliefs into the high capacity of humility back to their source. So that is how much it matters. And you see, you make the best connections with what you value in your daily life. I value people with respect. I value people with intelligence. I value all sparks from all kinds of countries when they have the value of their own organism, their intelligence, the will to move forward with the respect up into the dignity and humility with the Creator, and thus that opens all of creation from within. Does that make sense? The inner and outer world needs to match coming true with the alchemy right now. So if you want a free webinar, the links are in the descriptions. There's 2 workshops I'm running right now, and that can completely change your entire life. It's all online. I do private sessions as well, picking them up and getting you on point. So if you don't know where to start and you need some checkup to do, that is what I do in private sessions. I'm bringing the alchemy through, because the only thing that truly kills people and cut people down is their breathing system is so off. If you can't breathe 1 or 2 miles in circumference, your breathing system is off. And so when that opens up and you start to generate light waves upon light waves and open up, reconnect everything and know how to reconnect with the capstone of creation, which we see on the pyramid, then the old CNI comes open, then we polish that, and the ears hear in a better value and volume. So it all needs to move together. So I have this list here about alchemy that explains all these levels, and that becomes so interesting because, you know, in the age of knowledge, we truly want to know, right? So let me know, where are you from, and what do you value the most in your life, okay? Take good care of yourself, and thank you for commenting, subscribing, and being with me. SharlotChi, logging out.